What is up guys, Stark here. In today's character spotlight we are taking a look at one of the new servants that will be coming out in the next banner. Now it's not actually in the game yet, there's no information about it yet, but on Facebook they did announce that the banner will be coming. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about this unit before the banner is released, and then when the banner is actually released I'll go ahead and talk about the whole banner altogether. But for now we're just going to focus on the character, and the character is going to be Okita Soji. So she is going to be a saber, so she will be effective against lancers and weak to archers. And she's going to be a 5-star, and I believe she's the only new unit in the batch, and the other ones are just rated up for the event. But again, I'll talk about that when the actual banner and details for that drop. For now though, her max stats are going to be 12,068 attack and 13,225 HP at level 90, and then if you do decide to max her out completely, she will end up with 15,210 attack and 16,489 HP. So she's got some pretty good stats overall with balanced HP and attack, and that's pretty standard for sabers. And honestly, I didn't really talk about her artwork too much, but she does have some really awesome artwork. I really do enjoy the character design for her, and I feel like I might just pull for her just because of her artwork and her voice actress, and I feel like that might be a problem for me in this game, where I just pull for characters that have good artwork and that have, like, they have voice actors that I like. But I don't know, we'll see. She is a pretty good character overall though, and I do need a 5-star saber, so I might decide to go ahead and pull for her. But let's go ahead here and talk about her skills. Her first skill is going to be a word I probably am going to butcher, but it's going to be called the Tsukuchi B skill. Yeah, I definitely said that wrong. Anyway, it increases quick card effectiveness for 1 turn. It is a self buff though. But at level 1 it is a 30% buff, and at level 10 it is a 50% buff. So it is a really strong buff for, you know, Okita. And she is going to rely heavily on crit damage and quick card stuff. So, you know, if you're going to play her in a team like that, it's definitely going to be really, really strong. So moving on here to her second skill is going to be the Weak Constitution A skill. And again, this is going to be another self buff for her. And what it does is it will greatly increase critical star gather rate for 1 turn. And this will be a 500% gather rate at level 1 and a 1000% gather rate at level 10. So this is pretty good. You know, in the first skill you have the quick card effectiveness rate up, and now in the second skill you have the critical star gather rate, you know, bonus. And then in her final skill, which is going to be the Mind's Eye Fake A skill, it'll be another self buff, and in this one it'll apply evade for 1 turn, and it will increase the critical star or critical strength for Okita for 3 turns, and this will start at 20% at level 1 and it will go up to 40% at level 10. So this is a really nice skill. You know, anytime you have evasion on any type of character or any skill is always really nice, and then you have the bonus of having critical strength for 3 turns as well, which, you know, is really, really good because she relies heavily on that crit damage, because overall she's, I mean, I don't really think she does that much damage overall. She does have good stats, but she does rely heavily on her crit damage. So moving on here to her class skills, her first skill is going to be the Magic Resistance E skill, which will increase debuff resist by 10%, and then her second skill is going to be the Writing E skill, which will increase quick card effectiveness by 2%. So this gives a small little buff to her quick, you know, damage, but overall it's really nothing that special. Moving on here to her Ascension and skill enhancement materials. She doesn't need a whole lot, but she does need the gears, and those are still limited currently in the game. However, if you were, you know, saving the gears you've got in previous events, you might have enough to go ahead and max her out. So, you know, if you were lucky enough not to spend them, then you'll benefit if you do decide to pull and get this character. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait, and, you know, you'll get stuck at the second Ascension. But when we do get the gears, and I'm sure we'll get them, you know, with upcoming events, they're not really that common, or really they're not really that uncommon rather. So moving on here to her skill enhancement materials, she doesn't need a whole lot here either, but she does need the talons, and those are very difficult to get. So, you know, I try to get them quite often, but They are stubborn, they do not drop, and you do need quite a few of them, especially for her 8 to 9 level skill, needing 11 of those. But, you know, just keep farming those events, keep farming, you'll get them eventually. If you just focus on one character, you will max the character out soon enough. So moving on here to her command cards and her Noble Phantasm. She has 2 quick, 1 arts, and 2 buster. And, you know, this pretty much makes sense because you do ideally want to use her in a quick team. But you could also throw her onto her buster team, although I really don't recommend it because most of her skills just are self buffs and they deal with, you know, quick damage and stuff like that. And her Noble Phantasm is also quick, and this will deal significant damage to a single enemy that ignores defense, and it will greatly decrease the defense of that enemy for 3 turns if they do survive. So it is a 30% decrease at level 1, and it goes up to a 50% decrease at level 5. Now this is on the overcharge, but it is a pretty good defense reduction skill if the enemy does survive. And you will be building up a lot of quick damage before you use this, so there's a good chance that the enemy probably won't survive the attack. It is a single target, so it will do more damage than an AoE skill. So you could probably get it, so you're just going to one-shot whatever enemy you go ahead and attack with this Noble Phantasm. But overall though, it's pretty much just your average day, you know, Noble Phantasm. Doesn't do a whole lot as far as unique skills. It's just going to do some damage. So moving on here to her craft essences. The unique craft essence you're going to get for this character at level 10 Bond is going to be the Forehead Protector of Resolution. Now this will increase critical strength of all allies by 25% while in the field. So this is a pretty good craft essence, you know, because she does deal pretty heavily with crits and stuff like that. So if you're using her on a crit team, you could go ahead and throw this on. But ideally, I mean, it's going to take a while before you get this anyway, but I probably wouldn't really recommend it. I'd rather go the route of just straight up increasing her quick card effectiveness with Grander for the 15% increase, or Imaginary Around for the 25% increase. Or what you could do is you can use one of the craft essences from one of the previous events, being the Moonlight Fest craft essence, which will increase the critical star drop rate by 15% and then also increase the critical strength by 15%. So you do get a little bit of both worlds there, and it could definitely be a benefit depending on what team you try and use her on. So that's pretty much going to wrap up the video here for Okita. So she's not actually released on global yet, so I don't have any footage of her, and I'm having trouble with my Japan account logging in right now and updating the game. So I wasn't able to go on and actually find anyone who uses Okita. But what I did do is I did go to the Facebook page for Fate, and they actually have a video of Okita and Nobunaga's Noble Phantasm, so I'm gonna just use the clip from that to show you guys what her Noble Phantasm looks like, and I will see you guys tomorrow.